Welcome, my curious companions of the cosmos. Today we're diving into the argument from prophecy that claim that fulfilled predictions from religious texts prove the divine. Before we start, I'd just like to clarify, this video isn't about attacking anyone's faith, it's about examining a specific argument used to justify religious belief. Whether you're a devout believer, a skeptical atheist, or somewhere in the vast in between, I hope you'll find this analysis informative. Also, I think it's worth saying, I think that this is one of the best arguments at first glance, as when I got introduced to it while debating someone, it actually almost convinced me. But just like most arguments, a little research just reveals the truth. So now we finally got all that out the way, let's move into the history and origins of this argument. The argument from prophecy has been around almost as long as prophecies themselves. Early Christian apologists like Justin Martyr and Augustine used fulfilled prophecies from the Hebrew Bible as evidence for Christianity's truth claims. In modern times, the argument was popularised by books like Josh McDowell's Evidence That Demands Verdict, and Lee Strobel's The Case for Christ, which present fulfilled biblical prophecies as evidence for God's existence and intervention. Nice, a brief history, now let's get into the argument itself. The argument from prophecy typically follows this structure. Religious text X contains specific prophecies written before the events they predict. These prophecies later came true exactly as predicted. The probability of these predictions being correct by chance is astronomically low. Therefore, divine foreknowledge must be involved. Therefore, the divine source of these religious texts is confirmed. If you're still confused, let's jump into some misconceptions. Misconception 1. All prophecies have specific detailed predictions of future events. Many prophecies are actually vague symbolic or poetic passages that get reinterpreted after events occur. Misconception 2. Prophecies were always sealed predictions written long before events. Many religious texts underwent editing and compilation over centuries. The timeline between prediction and fulfillment isn't always clear. Misconception 3. Fulfillment of prophecies are always objective and undisputed. What counts as fulfillment is often subjective and interpreted differently across traditions. I've structured this a bit differently to my other videos. See, what we're going to do is take 3 examples from prophecy in the Bible, and then with these 3 examples we're going to highlight the problem with prophecy. The reason that there's only 3? Well, put it this way, if you wanted me to do all of them, you need the next week free. If you want to see more, I really recommend this video by MythVision, I'll leave it in the description below. Anyway, enough waffling by me, let's get into the critiques. One of the most cited prophecies in Christianity is from Isaiah 7:14, which Matthew's Gospel claimed predicted Jesus' virgin birth. Therefore, the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. However, this claim faces several issues. The original Hebrew text uses the word Alma, which simply means young woman, not necessarily a virgin. The Greek version then used the word Parthenos, virgin, which Matthew then quoted. In its original context, Isaiah 7:14 was addressing King Ahaz about a sign that would occur during his lifetime, not 700 plus years later. The prophecy concerned the Cyphro-Ephraimite War in the 8th century BCE. The child in Isaiah was named Emmanuel, but Jesus' name was Jesus. Apologists argue that Emmanuel, God with us, was a title, not a name, but that's not what the text says. This example shows how translation choices, removal from historical context, and creative interpretation can make a text sound prophetic, when the original meaning was quite different. Matthew 27:9-10. Then was fulfilled that which the price was spoken by Jeremy the prophet, saying, And they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of him that was valued, whom they, the children of Israel, did not value, and gave them the potter's field, as Lord appointed me. This verse claims that Judas' betrayal of Jesus for 30 pieces of silver fulfilled a prophecy from Jeremiah. This claim has multiple problems. Matthew attributes the prophecy to Jeremiah, but the closest passage is actually in Zechariah 11, 12, 13. And I say unto him, if ye think good, give me my price, and if not, forbear. So they weighed for my price 30 pieces of silver. And the Lord said unto me, cast it unto the potter, a goodly price that I was prized out of them. And I took 30 pieces of silver, and cast them to the potter in the house of the Lord. This suggests Matthew was working from memory, rather than carefully checking sources. The Zechariah passage isn't actually a messianic prophecy at all. It's about a shepherd being paid wages, not about a future betrayal. If you haven't seen my bro, Rationality rules his vid, then I'll link it in the description below. It's a debate that I do briefly enter in. However, why I brought this up is because he does bring up in a debate that the Bible's proof is the Bible, and it's the Bible trying to prove the Bible's narrative. This makes me wonder, did Judas actually betray Jesus, or is this just horseshit? Well, I think the latter, because there really is no proof of this happening at all. This example demonstrates how attribution errors, contextual reinterpretation, and the lack of corroboration weaken many prophetic claims. While apologists often highlight prophecies they believe were fulfilled, they often ignore or reinterpret those that weren't. Ezekiel 26, 7-14. For thus saith the God Lord, behold, I will bring Tyrus Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, a king of kings, from the north with horses and with chariots and with horsemen and companies and much people. They shall make a spoil of thy riches, and make prey of thy merchandise, and shall break down thy walls, and destroy thy pleasant houses, and shall lay thy stones and thy timber and thy dust in the midst of the water. I will make thee like the top of a rock. Thou shalt be placed to spread nets upon. For I, the Lord, have spoken it, saith the Lord God. This verse contains a detailed prophecy that Nebuchadnezzar would destroy the city of Tyre, leaving it a bare rock where you will never be rebuilt. Nebuchadnezzar besieged Tyre for 13 years, but ultimately failed to conquer the island portion of the city. This is acknowledged in Ezekiel 29, 17-18, which admits the prophecy didn't come true as stated. And it came to pass in the 7th and 20th year, in the 1st month and the 1st day of the month, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, caused his army to serve a great service against Tyrus. Every head was made bald, every shoulder was peeled, yet had he no wages, nor his army, for Tyrus, for the service that he had served against it. Tyre still exists today and is a thriving city in Lebanon with over 100,000 residents, despite the prophecy saying it will never be rebuilt. Apologists will sometimes claim Alexander the Great later fulfilled this prophecy, but this contradicts the specific claim that Nebuchadnezzar would do it. Others claim that the mainland portion was meant, not the island, but the text makes no such distinction. This example illustrates how failed prophecies are often ignored or reinterpreted with awful explanations to maintain the belief that prophecies are still infallible. It's generally like saying, I predict it will be sunny today, it starts raining, and then you say, oh well, I meant it was supposed to be sunny somewhere on Earth. Does this mean that all prophecies are bogus? Not necessarily, it just means that the argument from prophecy faces serious logical and evidential challenges that make it unconvincing as proof of divine intervention. Once again, I highly recommend watching the linked videos in the description from MythVision and Rationality rules. Anyway, thanks for joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out my other videos on religious arguments. Until next time, stay curious, stay critical, and never stop questioning. Goodbye.